It's happening. It's happening, right, Monkey? You excited? Are you excited that it's happening? Huh? Are you? Are you super duper excited? All right. It's Cheery Tuesday, baby. Let's rock and roll. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Charity Tuesday. Oh crap! We gotta turn that stupid thing off. No, don't go there. Just there we go. All right. So it's Charity Tuesday. We're here to raise some funds. We're raising money for the Audubon Society. It was suggested to me from Dizzy, I believe, that we should raise money for the Cornell Ornithological Research Center, who provides all sorts of cool apps and things like that for everyone, so they can identify birds and natural phenomena and whatnot. But they're not listed on YouTube. So I went the next best thing with the Audubon Society, which, you know, has got family connection. My great grandmother was the South Florida chapter president over 100 years ago. I found newspaper articles when I went to Miami back in December, and I was hunting down homes my grandfather and great grandfather had designed and built. I discovered articles about the meetings for the Audubon Society were held in my great grandfather and great grandmother's home because she was the chapter president. So that was like 1918, like long time ago. So we're raising money for the Audubon Society. We're at $323 so far. Louis Hinkle got in there. Louis Hinkle. Boom. And there's Julius Miami. Julius Miami. Bam. So we're at $343 now. Fantastic. Again, remember, I'm jotting down everyone who donates. It becomes one entry for a 50-cent wish item. I think I've got 4 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 left. I have 1 big one and 3 small ones. So if we get to $1,000, we raffle off one of those. Get to 1,500, we do 2. Get to 2,000, we do 3. Get to 2,500, we can do all 4. On top of that, we also have our stickers. Boom. I'll put a sticker in if you're a winner of the 50-cent wish. You'll get a 50 sticker as well. But if you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, you get yourself a Houston We Have a Problem sticker. And if you are among the first 24 or so who send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will also send you something from the Michael mystery box. And I have no idea what they are. Probably all like sex toys and things. So you'll get that. So that's how we're celebrating. We're raising money today. We are oh, they're right down the single. Crispy Merton. Yeah. Okay. Oh no, Louis Hinkle was way up here. Dang it! I wrote it down twice. Yeah. So $323. Not 343. $323 of the way there. So 32.3% of the way to our $1,000 goal. So thank you so much so far. Let's get there. And was there any big news off the bat, Monkey, or am I just doing Charity Tuesday stuff? You look like you have something on your mind. You want to tell me? No, you don't. You don't have anything on your mind? I'm wearing a bird shirt. Except I realized I thought, oh, birds, perfect, and then I realized it's a hunting shirt, so they're killing the birds. Sorry, Audubon Society. I mean, hunters are among the best conservationists out there because if everything dies and you lose all your environments, there's nowhere to hunt and nothing to hunt. So, there go. SJ, hot damn. I forgot to go through my list so far. So, Jason Blackwell was the first to donate. He donated last night during my Twitch stream that I did. Pro Productions, thank you. Hungry Caveman, thank you. Louis Hinkle, thank you. Tatalus, thank you. Left-Handed Wave, very much thank you. Martin Irvine, thank you. Ludicrous Speed, thank you. Leo B, thank you. Colin S, thank you. Javier Martinez, thank you. Chris Taylor, thank you. Another big thank you there. And Julius Miami and SJ, fantastic. SS Noah Johnson with his $1. So fantastic. Well, I was gonna say something. I totally forgot what it was. Saying thank yous. Oh yeah, Twitch stream. I had my worst game of GeoGuessr of all time last night. I missed everything by I was doing a quick one where you just kind of like, where am I? Click and guess, and I was off by thousands of miles. So many thousands of miles for each one of those. It was the most sad thing in the entire world. whereas the night before, I got perfect scores. But by all means, come over, join the Twitch, and you can watch me say the name of French highways over and over and over again. Oh my gosh, here it comes. Comfy sofa. I was going to ask, Catalyst, did you get the sweatshirt? Has it arrived yet? I sent it by slow boat, so I don't know if it's there yet. But yes, comfy sofa. That's pounds. And then Chris Reilly. Chris R-E-E-O-Y, relay. Relay. Okay, so we're at 551. We're over halfway now. 55.1% of the way there, and we haven't done anything interesting yet. So I don't know if I have any news, so I'm just going to do this.
Let's get started. Let's go. Houston, we have a problem.
Okie dokie, turn you off. So might as well jump in the news, or into what you guys are talking about, because I honestly don't have any headlines to roll off the top of my tongue here. Sis54 was the first to comment. Chillface was second. Jason Blackwell was third, but again, he was the first to donate. Rosemoon Kaka. Rosemoon joined us in our Twitch stream last night. First Day Productions, late night, fourth, just time to wish you happy birthday. Andrew Dowell, first to like. Matt was eighth. GDC, happy birthday. GCL says, Houston, I fell for the fake news lies that birds were real. Oh, Houston fell for the fake news lies that birds were real. He probably also believes that Wyoming is a real place, to quote Orange Jesus, sad. I have been to Wyoming, and I have seen birds in Wyoming. Believe it or not. I have, truly. I've never touched a bird in Wyoming, but I may have eaten one. I did. I ate birds in Wyoming. I had the chicken dinner for two once at like an RV resort, because it was the only place that had a restaurant for miles. So I have put bird in my mouth before in Wyoming. So let that sink in. Martin Weiss is here, or was here. Martin wants to know, is Putin still end of life by end of year? Well, some reports from some Finnish journalists talked about that there is currently a battle going on between the head of the FSB and an oligarch for control of Russia, and that Putin's been hiding in a bunker for who knows how long, scared that they're going to kill him. So I don't know if you've seen him like sending body doubles out to like Azerbaijan and to like a poultry farm and stuff. His body doubles, one of them looks like if Putin and Michael Caine had a baby. And then the other one looks like if Putin got stung by a bee on the face. But he's like in a bunker in somewhere, terrified that he's about to be murdered. So yeah, I say my prediction still holds. I'm still standing by it. That Putin is donezo before the end of the year. This is the last year for Vladimir Putin. So we'll see where it goes from there. For ZZ9 and Aaron Salentine for the ZZ9. Whoops. Z9. Boom. Hey, Aaron. Boom. All right. $572. 57.2% of the way to our goal. Fabrizio is plopping in. Murph and Turf Studios. Very funny. The Audubon Society was chosen as I just got an old live stream where you talk about not caring about birds and only having 6 classifications. It's true. There's only 6 classifications of birds. Now, the Audubon Society seems to break that down unnecessarily into like hundreds or thousands of bird species. But there's chickens and not chickens. There's crows and not crows. And then there's seagulls and not seagulls. That's it. That's the only 6 classifications you know about birds. Some are really big, not chickens. Some are especially big, not seagulls. Some are teeny tiny, not crows. Right? But you just basically have those. That's all you need to know. And you yourself can become an expert bird watcher. Now, what I care about with the Audubon Society is that they don't just produce, goodness gracious, things about birds. They also produce fantastic mineral guides and tree identification and plant identification guides, animal guides. You know, look at North American megafauna. You get one of these books as well. These things are fantastic resources. They list, you know, all the places you can find them, the petrology of different rocks you got. You know, the chemical compositions and the occurrences, and they're fantastic. So I highly recommend getting yourself Audubon Society guidebooks because they are among the best in the business at it. The weird thing is about them is that you get the cool pictures of the rocks, right? But then you have to go to the page where there aren't cool pictures to then learn about. That's a weird setup, but you know, it works. It's excellent little field guides. They're pretty durable. This one I flipped in the truck and smashed all over the desert, and it still is pretty decent shape. So they're densely packed, and I highly recommend getting yourself Audubon Society books. They've got them from all regions all over the world, and they're great. What do we got here? We got Artemis. Boom. Alex Bishop. That's Canuck money. Okay. So, boom. That takes us to $597. We're almost to $600. Almost 60% of the way there, kitty. You already kicked the dog off her bed. So good job. You know, he's appreciative of the Audubon Society. He goes out and he fucking murders birds. He appreciates them all the time. He finds them delicious. The Audubon Society is watching the stream right now. It's like he's wearing a hunting shirt. He's talking about his cat murdering birds. And there's only 6 kinds of birds. What is going on? But the Audubon Society is great. They, you know, their goal is the protection of environmental spaces so that the diversification of birds can exist in the world. And as a result of their conservation efforts, all sorts of other animal species and natural flora manage to be saved as a result. There are Audubon reserves all over the world. They are in probably damn near every country. They're natural reserves. You go watch, you go, you know, see what kind of life exists out there in a natural environment. And they can be excellent respites. My roommate grew up in Chicago, and he's talking about the Audubon Reserve that was near his home in Chicago, and it was just this strange natural slice of life in the middle of this giant city. So, you know, they do great works. Now, there are some people who, you know, get upset because they might like close off a beach or something to protect a shorebird, and the rednecks are like, "Darr!" But there are plenty of other beaches for you to go to. It's there for the beaching. David Hashemi Houston, what's going on in the job market recently? Oh, sorry, recent electrical engineering grad. I've been shit out of luck for 3 months. Ooh, yeah. You may have to move. Remember, they're building these gigantic semiconductor plants, right? For making chips all over in Minnesota and Texas and stuff. So if you want a job doing the cool stuff with solid state physics, you may have to go there. Otherwise, you may have to adapt and use your electrical engineering skills for like computer networking, do IT, things like that in the meantime. When I was an IT guy way back when, you know, during the dot-com bubble, 2000, 2001, when the dot-com bubble burst, I couldn't get a job. You know, I was a high school grad with certification who was also going to college at the time in unrelated fields, but I had my Microsoft certifications, and I was making almost $100 an hour. It was ridiculous how much money I was making in 24 years ago. And then the dot-com bubble went poof, and I couldn't get a job to save my life because electrical engineers with PhDs were willing to do my job for like $15 an hour all of a sudden because there was nothing else available. So if you were a company looking for a network engineer, administrator, or something like that, you go, well, I got this high school grad, or I've got this PhD electrical engineer who's willing to do it for a fraction of the price. We'll go with him. End up having to make coffee for a while until my baseball took off again. So, yeah, you may have to broaden your horizons and look for something that's not specifically electrical engineering, but is like parallel or tangential to it. That'd be my guess. And David Hashemi, also my GME options got me depressed. Oh yeah, I forgot to look what GME did today. I did not even get a chance to view that at all. GME got hammered today. Goodness gracious. Down about 65 cents. You know, apparently there's swaps coming due this week. I have no idea. I did read that there's some 5,000 blocks of $30-something Chewy options got purchased. So we're like, 5,000 blocks. That's something the DFE was doing. So maybe he's on that again? I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. Stephanie L is in here. Fantastic. Stephanie L. Boom, and Darren Saunders. Man, that puts us over 600. We're at 632. 63.2% of the way to our $1,000 goal. We're humming right along here. Especially for a last minute Cherry Tuesday, because this one really snuck up on me. I was like, Cherry Tuesday already? Oh my gosh. Brendan Wells is here. Snurtlert's here. Catalyst, easy trivia question for you. If I am an Icelandic woman named Maria Arnendóttir, and my husband is Gunnar Kristinsson, what is our son Stefan's surname? Your son Stefan will be Stefan Gunnarsson. Yes. Why? Because Iceland still does medieval naming system of naming the child after the parent. Whereas if their daughter would be Gunnar's daughter. Yes. And there's also a limited number of names you're allowed to name your child in Iceland. There were some not traditional Icelandic names that were happening, and the Icelandic government put a kibosh on that. No, they must be, because, you know, let's say you named your kid I don't know, Ronaldo, right? That's not a traditional Icelandic name, and so their child would be either Ronaldo's son or Ronaldo daughter. So it's just gonna mess everything up. And you got to list. Everyone gets listed in the phone book name first, first name first, and there's also a giant database you can find out if you're related to someone, because you don't necessarily know if you are based on last names alone in their system. Whereas, like, if I meet somebody with last name Wade, and I'm like, that chick's hot, I'll go, oh, wait, your last name's Wade? Let's not. Good. I know that we're probably related to somewhere along the line, and it's just not going to work out. Whereas if everyone has the last name of their father's, or last name of their father's first name, you have no idea who is related to you distantly or otherwise. So yeah, that's Iceland. Sad Boy Incorporated, Houston. Who would win, a fight, a polar bear or a pack of wolves? How big is a pack of wolves? If it's like a pack of 6 wolves, I think a well-fed polar bear rips them to shreds. It'd be like me fighting a room full of kindergartners. If it's like 20 bears, 20 wolves in the pack, then we might be evening the field a little bit. Granted, the bear's got so much padding, it's really hard to get in there and really take a meaningful chunk out of them. So that bear, I mean, just imagine every wolf the bear gets in its grasp, it gets torn in half, right? And so you can be biting on that bear all day long, maybe death of 1,000 cuts eventually, but that bear is going to be just hulked out and just ripping wolves in half all day long. So generally, I would take the grizzly bear over the wolves. Now, if it's a polar bear. Now, if it's a polar bear has been starving because they're losing habitat due to ice loss and stuff like that, and the bear is weakened, then the wolves might have that one. But well-fed, healthy polar bear, all day long. Largest land predator on Earth. Terrifying. They look cuddly and cute, but they will fuck you up. Moonwad getting in here. Fantastic, Moonwad. Boom. Thank you, Moonwad. And Justin G. Oops, Justin G. That is a 1 and a 0. Okay. There we go. Where was I? That's Pack of Bears 1. Also, grizzlies in Canada are breeding with polar bears in Alaska, creating hybrids that are the size of polar bears with the aggression of a grizzly bear. I read some story, I have no idea if it is authentic or not, about an albino grizzly bear that keeps getting dropped off, or that was found like in lower Alaska, and conservation's like, oh crap, how the hell does polar bear end up here? It's going to starve to death. And so they tranked it, they boxed it up, they moved it to the tundra, northern Alaska, and they released it. And then the polar bear biologists were like, what the hell is this albino grizzly bear doing here? It's going to starve to death. So they tranked it, packaged it up, took it back to lower Alaska, and released it again. And then another time, conservation's like, why is there a polar bear here? And they tranked it, sent it back to the North Slope. So this poor bear has been getting like shifted back and forth across the environments each year. And probably doesn't know when the hell it's supposed to be hibernating at this point. I have no idea about the truth of that story. I just found it hilarious. GDC, HW, who is going to make me rich first? RC Carl Icahn, Ron Erickson, No Labs. I know they're both fighting for the title. My hope is that BBBY figures something out in the next 6 weeks. And that No Labs doesn't file for their FDA approval until after that, because I want a payday so I can get myself like 1 million plus shares of No Labs and be ready for them to file for their FDA approval and rock and roll from there. That's how I hope it's going to go. What's probably going to happen is No Labs will file, the stock price will go through the roof, and then I'll get my payday from BBY and be like, gah! Right? But it's what I hope and what will happen. And GDC, PS, I'm trying to donate, but YouTube is being really YouTube-y about it. There's some, like, I can't even donate to my own charities on YouTube. They canceled my ability. Like, YouTube takes money, sends it to my account every month because I'm monetized on here. And I cannot use the same account to send money to charity. It's really frustrating. So YouTube does this thing. Some people discover they can't do it on their phone. They got to do it on the computer. Other people can't do it on their computer and have to do it on their phone. It's annoying. D33 Rock. D33 Rock. Boom. In Anonymous. Boom. $767. We're 76.7% of the way there, and we are 25 minutes into the show. So not too shabby. Okay. Snurlert. Oh, Houston. The word on the streets that DFE bought 20,000 Chewy calls. That's what I'm hearing is that Chewy's about to have another puny pop, and he is getting in there with it. So let's look at the Chewy options chain right now. GHWY options chain. Okay, Chewy options chain. We got to go there. We have to turn on the Chrome. Okay, got to turn off the Google Earth. That would help. Wink. There we are. Okay, so which options are we looking at? If there's 20,000 of them, it's not these weeklies. Do you know the dates at all of the Chewy options? We got September 6th. Nothing big there. My guess maybe monthlies for September. September 20th. Any big ones in there? No big ones for the 20th. Interesting. October? October monthlies? Nothing big in there either. So what date? What date could it possibly? Nothing. It's like nothing for the 13th. 4th? Nothing there. September 27th? Nothing big there. October 4th? Nothing big there. So which date would it be? Like we got 6,000 at 25. We got 6,000 at 27. We got 7,000 at 30. Is he doing a spread? Maybe about a chunk that are in the money and some chunks that are out of the money so that it will do a little zoomy pop. They're pretty cheap. The implied volatility is way down. So this is for September 20th. So this is a month away, and you can get stuff that's $5 out of the money for about $1 a share. Implied volatility is below 100. That's pretty decent. Up here at 32.5s, where there's a bunch, 86% volatility. Get them for 77 cents. But you can get, for the same price, you can get the 32s. So you might as well jump in on that, right? Get yourself an extra $50 per price rise in the end, if that's the potentiality. Oh, shit. I didn't know the last time. Cat. You're a curse. You're a black cat. You're a curse. You're a curse. Okay. Turn it off. Scroll down because out of my screen, that's why I didn't see it. Boom. Off. Okay, might as well write down. We got attaining oneness. Attaining oneness. Boom, boom. Viranocum. Nope. Ham. Boom. So we are at, where are we now? Where are you now? $807, 80.7% of the way there. We are so close to the $1,000 goal and giving away a 50-cent wish item. So, bam. Colin, cheers, Houston, and everyone else. Let's raise money. Thank you, Colin. Ryan Rutledge, watching for years. First comment. Well, welcome. No Labs hopeful. Mother's NASA boyfriend talks about NNE, Nano Nuclear Energy, a company that makes portable nuclear generators. Thoughts? Sounds sketch to me. I have never heard of NNE, I don't think. Unless there's one fusion company that's trying to make microfusion devices that Bill Gates is invested in. NNE, Nano Nuclear. Well, their stock price is $10 or so. What have they been? They had a peak earlier this year at $28, and then it's been falling off ever since. They've only existed since when? May? So May, June, July. So they've only existed since the beginning of June, basically. They had a peak in July and then went right back down again. And nuclear energy, the concept is very promising, but can they pull it off? Seeking Alpha. Morningstar, and let's look at what Seeking Alpha article has in here, because you can't trust any of these people that publish Seeking Alpha anymore. Okay. Nano Nuclear Energy is designing a small-scale nuclear fission reactor. So they're splitting things apart. Okay, the company operates in the micro-reactor market, which is smaller than SMR market, which plans for portable and scalable reactors. Most of the competition is offering significantly larger reactors, so it is likely to have its own niche, but reactor sales are not likely this decade. Other business lines are also mostly in the design stage, though more likely to materialize earlier. The package is difficult to assess from an investor point of view. It should be noted the company has no problem attracting private capital, looking for more investing exclusively at SNH portfolio. Okay. No, I'm not gonna. It's just advertisement. Screw you, dude. So I don't know what kind of let's see what their nanoreactors are like. Solid core battery reactor. Okay, so these are going to be like the type of reactors you have in space probes and satellites. So low pressure coolant reactor, operate higher than conventional water cooled reactor temperatures, which will allow resilient operation, high power conversion efficiency. Zeus solid state battery moving through thermal conduction, limiting the needs for coolant pumps. So this Zeus one is likely to be like a ceramic battery. So if you look at things like the Voyager 2 probe, you would take reactor material and you bake it into a ceramic, so it's a heat source, and then you use the heat itself to power everything. And the half-life on them is like 88 years. So right now we're like halfway, a little more halfway to the half-life of the battery, and it should last, be able to power things for a couple hundred years or so. It also keeps the spacecraft warm so that it doesn't become brittle and crack. So it's a heat source as well as battery. The Odin one sounds more like a traditional one where you're running coolant through it, and but a small one. So you're probably using steam to power things. Okay. I mean, I don't know how useful it is unless you're looking for to like power maybe cruise ships or cargo or oil tankers or something. There was one cruise ship that was powered using a nuclear reactor. I think you can see it in like Baltimore Harbor. What was the name of that thing? Baltimore Harbor cruise ship nuclear reactor. What was that thing called? Ennis Savannah. That's right. Ennis Savannah. It's a pretty goofy looking ship, I'll be honest. Like, are you gonna go there? Okay, so like by today's standards, it looks like a really antiquated ship on the outside. The inside, I think the design motif was pretty awesome. But this was the cruise ship. It looks really goofy, right? It's like kind of like the ship they had in Herbie Goes Bananas. So this was the ship. It was built in the late 60s, right? No, 53. Forget, but started 53. Okay, but like this is some really cool mid-century modern design motif on the inside. I thought like the inside design motif is just neat. Like look at that thing. That's cool. It only ran for a bit. It was proof of concept national cruise ship. It could only carry 60 passengers. Also, cargo holds for transporting goods. So I think it was basically a cargo ship that had like limited cruise capacity. Yeah, pretty neat. Maybe the room's a little dark, but like mid-century modern design-wise, fucking cool. Really cool. A very like at the same time antiquated. You know what I mean? So my guess is you have small reactors. You can fit the niche of providing reactors for military purposes, for submarines and ships and things like that. And if people get approval for passenger applications, although the big scare for passenger applications, I think, is you've got like Houthis now blowing up ships that are going through the Red Sea. You don't want like terrorist elements to like be able to take over a nuclear powered vessel. So that's probably one of the threats there. I was reading recently about Lockheed Martin nuclear powered airship. So they wanted to build, it was going to have a 1/4 mile wide wingspan. This is like 1960s. What's that thing called? Lockheed Martin Skunk Works giant plane. There we go. It was the C something, like C-1200 giant plane nuclear reactor. Compact fusion reactor. Skunk Works play fusion. What the hell is the name of that thing? It could like have like 24 jets, 24 fighter jets, fusion powered bomber plans. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, okay. Fuel, nothing about that. Dark history, nope. Exotic fusion. Give me the stupid, giant, huge C whatever jet. C-1200 or something like that? Compact fusion, Skunk Works. Shit. Where are you? Fusion powered bombers. Nope, not coming for me. What the hell is that thing called? If any of you are plane guys or ladies, throw it at me and we'll figure it out here. In the meantime, Wrong Conclusion has jumped in here. Wrong Conclusion. Boom, thank you. Walt, the man in the middle. Walt, Man in the Middle. That name is just so long to write out. Boom. And where are we? We are at $917. We are, and this is Monkey Butt Treat Zone. We are $83 away from Monkey Butt receiving a treat. And then how about what do you want to do after that? Every 150 get another one? Does that sound good for you? Huh? Maybe 200, so don't fill you up too much. We'll do every 200. Monkey Butt gets first treat at $1,000, and she gets another treat for every 200 after that. So we don't make her too fat unless you guys really start just throwing money, making it rain like a stripper, right? Yeah, you're expectant. You are ready to go. You know it's Charity Tuesday, the best day of the entire month, right? We'll finish off. You're gonna finish off the Kirkland one, and then we'll see what other trees we got up there. That work? Okay. All right, we're close. $87 away. GDC. Yesterday you said October 23rd as the day that the creditors regain control of BPY bankruptcy from the bankruptcy court. RC and Carl waiting for that. Also, 10/23 is Mole Day. Like celebrating moles the creature or moles the tags on your skin. As far as I know, so bankruptcy rules give the debtor 18 months to figure their shit out. And if they don't figure it out after 18 months, then the chief creditors take control and then they figure it out for them. So if everything's going according to plan and they're trying to exit before October, then boom, that's it. If it doesn't go according to plan, then whoever the head creditors are, 6th Street, with the Dip and Philo, is probably going to lead the charge. And we think that Ryan Cohen is behind that. So, good determine everything. Monkey Butt, how are you? How are you, little dog? You cool? Yeah? Just give me like such sad puppy dog eyes. But you just gotta wait. You just gotta wait, monkey. You got $87 to go. And then you can have sweet, sweet, sweet treats. Colin says probably gonna miss the live, but wanted to make sure I got a little donation in. A random note though, Chewy calls getting picked up at close to 5,000 lots. That's what I want to know. What date though? What date are they getting picked up in those 5,000 lots? Oh shoot! Just reset the chat. Where'd you go? I think Ludicrous Speed was the next one hopping in here. Were they? Yes, Ludicrous Speed. Not trying to start an argument. But here's my issue with Major League Baseball: mediocrity. No team has won more than 59% of their games this season, and most other seasons are that way too. I think a big problem with baseball is that pitchers are freakishly strong now. That the average fastball is like 4 miles an hour faster than it was even like 15 years ago. And these dudes are all going to pitching academies. They're all learning how to throw a ball freakishly hard, and hitters just can't keep up with it. And I don't think the science of hitting has grown with the pitching ability in the last generation or so. We just don't have the power hitters. So what I think they need to do is, if the pitchers are going to remain super strong, don't raise the mound. There was talk about raising the mound. Don't do that because that just even makes it harder. But you can bring in juice balls again. The happy Haitian effect. So there was talk years ago when you saw the home run improvement, which was probably due to steroids, but they call it the happy Haitian effect because back then the baseballs were being made in Haiti, and Major League Baseball was sort of guilted into giving them a giant pay raise. They said the Haitians were so happy that they were stitching the balls tighter than they were before when they were getting paid less, so that the balls the seams on them didn't rise as much, so you couldn't get as much braking action on the ball, and so the balls had a much smoother surface, making it to the disadvantage of the pitchers. Granted, it's probably all steroids in the end, but yeah, maybe have less raised seams on the baseball, juice the balls a little more, have larger rubber core or something. I don't know, but there's got to be a solution in there somewhere, because we need higher batting averages in baseball. The batting averages are just abysmal. Like, we used to have, in the 80s, you'd have 20 players with batting averages above like 310 at the end of each season. Now our league leaders oftentimes have lower batting averages like that. The Europeans now are like rolling their eyes. MLB batting leaders. Okay. So we got average wise. Whoops, come on. Just whatever. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing because I don't have it set up here. It's average. Who is our leaders in average? Whoops. Okay, we got Bobby Witt, 340, 338, 320, 307. So you drop below 320 on the fourth hitter in the entire league. This is bad. This does not bode well for the future of offense. Like we only have we have 9 players with 300 or better batting average. That's bad. That's not very good. On base plus slugging, we've got 3 players with 1,000 or above on base plus slugging in all the leagues. The 1996 Mariners had 4, and they had 6 players with 900 or better, and we have 11 players in the entire league. If you want to know how good the 1996 Mariners offense was, just look at this. The 1996 Mariners were better in almost every category offensively than the league leaders for both the National and the American League put together. That is terrible. So there's got to be done something like, make them pitch from a foot further away, make the mound 61 feet 6 inches or something. I don't know. There has to be something to make up for the fact that we now have like Marvel comic superheroes throwing baseballs at people, and the hitting just has not caught up. It just hasn't. You got only 9-10 guys in the entire league who can figure it out, and that's about it. Yeah. I mean, if Jay Buhner were playing in this era, he would be a Hall of Fame contender compared to the rest of the hitters in the league. So it's something's got to be done about it. Also, they need to teach players to not swing at sliders so much. It is ridiculous how many of them just stick their butt out there and try to hit a slider, and they just can't because they're unhittable. You need to recognize the spin on the ball, keep that bat in your shoulders, and know it's going to dive away from you out of the zone, and you'll get your walks. Your on base plus slugging will go up, and you will be an all-star all of a sudden. So do that. Just don't swing at sliders, entire Mariner staff. Okay, where was I? Dig Dug Doink and Sir Barther getting in on it. Where'd my pen go? There it is. Dig Dug Doink. Bam. Sir Barther. Sir Barther. Bam, bam. Where's that put us now? Where's it put us now? $9.57. $43 away until your salvation, monkey. $43. And then you can be a dog who wags your tail. Until then, you gotta wait and see, right? Mr. E Machine. Could the weekend at Biden's tweet be telling us to watch out for the Labor Day weekend? That is what the tinfoil is saying, is that because Weekend at Bernie's is about these 2 guys at an accounting firm who discover insurance fraud. Their boss, who is indebted to the mob, invites them out to his mansion in the Hamptons for Labor Day weekend, and they find him dead because the mob's killed him. And really, he invited them out there to kill them. And so they decided to not let the weekend go to waste, and they party, and pretend like Bernie is still alive, and the assassin goes bonkers, keep trying to kill Bernie over and over and over again, and it doesn't work because he's already dead, even though he thinks he's alive. And that's the theory of it. So, if you're discovering some sort of fraud and it's coming up Labor Day weekend, that could be what it is. Or it could just be a really dumb meme because he's a Trumper. So, read into it what you will, right? I mean, you could have done a weekend at BB's, right? Weekend at something, right, monkey? Right, you little dog. She's just staring at me. She's just staring at me, saying, "Give us $43 so I can eat some Costco nuggies." And there it is. There's Don Caesar Shadem. sees your Shadem. Boom. Dmitry Maximov. Dmitry Maximov. Boom. Oh, we're still $3 away, monkey. $3 away, little buddy. We're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait. Devron, Houston, happy cake day. What happens to Bed Bath after exiting hearing on September 10th? Also, Monkey Butt needs a cookie. She does. She needs a cookie desperately. But she keeps hearing me say the name, her name associated with treat and cookie and nuggy all over again, and her eyeballs could burn a hole in my skull right now. I have no idea. My guess is, so the exiting hearing was supposed to be yesterday, I believe, and got pushed off to the 10th. From what I read, the exiting hearing is about like, all right, we got our plan. People are getting paid. This is when we are going to exit bankruptcy and be done with this crap. And that seems to be what it will be about on the 10th if it's not pushed back further. I know that there's still... I think all the adverse claims had to be in by last week, by the 22nd, right? And their hearings for anyone who did file the adverse claims is like September 20th or somewhere around there, for them to hear like, hey, you need to pay me type stuff. So that's still coming. But it does sound like that they want to get it done before October, or at least before the 23rd of October, when they could take over, right, Monkey? Right? Oh, I got an anonymous donation, Monkey. That puts us $2 over. You know what that means? The last of the Costco nuggies, and then if we get to 1,200, you get some of the good stuff. How about we'll do this one first? Come on, get up here. That one first. Oh yeah, Costco nuggie. Do a little trash. Taking your sweet time on that one, bud. Slayer J. Nice. Slayer J. Boom. All right, come on. Come on, give this last one. There you go. Okay, Costco nuggies are out of the way. Now we have $193 to go, Monkey, until you get your next nuggie, which will be the good ones. Will be the breakfast sandwich ones. I need water. That's what I need. Okay. Mr. E-Machine, I can't hear him. Can anyone else? I hope so. My microphone says it's working. So I hope you can hear me. GDC, I can hear him, but when I refresh my page, it auto-muted him. What's going on? Robert Manson, BBY bonds are 1,000 plus interest, roughly 1,350 total. How many shares do you think for each bond? I was thinking initial $10 to $20 price, 60 to 130 shares per. I hadn't really thought about that, about what the translation would be. Like, it's probably not going to be the translation of the 7-cent shares that finished when it stopped trading, right? So if they're going to be doing a debt for equity conversion, it's going to be at whatever the shares are going to be launched at, which will set a floor price for the shares, right? And yeah, that kind of makes sense. If you make it $20, right? So then you're looking at 70 something shares per. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. So yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. $4.09, do you think the new 3,500 block, or new 5,000 block call options bought today could be DFV? Again, what's the date on those? Because I'm looking at the volumes for September. I don't see anything in the 5,000th, the volume there. We passed the monthlies this month. Look at October, oops, not October 4th, October 18th. There's no 5,000 blocks in there. So 27th doesn't have any 5,000 blocks, so I don't know. I don't know what the date would be on that. There's no 5,000 blocks on the 13th. Did it go further? Go January? There's no 5,000 blocks purchased for January. So I don't know. I They're saying there's 5,000 blocks purchased today. I don't see any. That's the thing. Unless they're purchased yesterday, there's reporting on it today. So I don't see in the volumes. I don't know. SJ, good day, everyone. Been playing catch up on the shows for a few weeks now. Well, I haven't seen you around. Been on vacation. That was a good time. SS Minnow Johnson. SS Minnow never dies. 70 days. Houston, get that flag ready. Dude, Trump is going to get so whooped in November. I don't remember what I win out of you. I don't remember at all what it is. But whatever it is, I'm going to win it. It's going to be so easy. Aaron Salentine, Houston. Giving a youping $1 to birds from reverse split profits account I have. Okay. Dizzy, Houston, thanks for picking the Audubon Society. Yes, Dizzy, my pleasure. My pleasure. Get in there. I see your thumbs were missing their spots there, Aaron Salentine. That's okay. Artemis, Lowell HW Bird of Classification class is my absolute favorite. Thanks for lifting my spirits up a bit. You truly rock. It's true. I mean, like, you see these guys on my shirt? These would be not seagulls. Because they're not seagulls, right? Done. I figured out the classification of that bird. You don't have to call it a mallard or whatever. Wood duck. No, it's just not a seagull. Done. That's all this dog cares about. Whether it's a seagull or not, whether it's alive or not. Leo B, GME quarter 2 2024 earnings release date set for the September 10th. Word. Mrs. Minnow says my favorite bird is the classy British one. Robert Manson, how did you arrive at the $99 a month price for No Labs? I think we talked about it. Either I talked about it with Ron outside of the show or during the show. It was like hypothetical, like, oh, we subscription fee, $99 a month, so on. Conversation went something like that. Ryan H, shout out to Monkey Butt, Fat Man, and Little Kitten. Oh yeah, the Little Kitten. We're gonna introduce the Little Kitten to you, I think, on Thursday, when the roommate's around. Chris Taylor, Orange Jesus indictment for January 6th adjusted to work around Supreme Court immunity ruling, stating his actions were done in his candidate role, not his presidential role. Suck it. Yes. So they sought a superseding indictment from a grand jury, basically now saying, okay, with this Supreme Court ruling in mind, had crimes been committed, and they rendered it appears so. Let's indict him. So yeah, that. Interesting. And he filed in Florida. He filed for an appeal because Eileen Cannon down in Florida erroneously ruled that the special counsel is not constitutional when we have numerous Supreme Court rulings stating that effect ever since the Nixon administration. And we've got laws written by Congress since then establishing further guidelines and legal authority. So my guess is the 11th Circuit is going to go, ugh, and then kick it back to the lower court, which will give Jack the ability to blackball Cannon and get a different judge. But I think her entire goal was to kick the can on this thing until after the election, which, if that's the case, then she succeeded. I don't think we'll get a ruling from the appeals court until after the election anyway. Chris Taylor, about 2 high EP $16 calls today for fun. They're both down 60% already. Lol. Isn't that the way, man? Isn't that just the way? Mr. E Machine, what happens to Russia after Putin dies? I don't think there's an oligarch available who has the ability to keep that thing together. The nation of Russia is like an empire of colonization. There are ancient kingdoms all over Russia of people who don't identify as Russians, but they're stuck in Russian society, and they're kind of treated like shit by ethnic Russians. And I think Putin goes down, and he's already killed off everyone who'd be like a really truly strong leader and a threat to his regime. That I think the rest of the country falls apart because the Ukrainians have killed the military. There's 600,000 Russians are dead in 2.5 years of fighting in Ukraine. they have a standing force of 500,000. They've killed more of the entire standing force of the Russian military. So they're down to very few career military members. It's mostly conscripts and mobniks, the mobilized ones. And those guys are underarmed, underprepared fodder. So if it comes down to it, Russia can break apart so instantly, and you've got a whole bunch of, if you are a conscript or a mobilized soldier, you're pissed off. What minimal training you have may result in you forming militias if Putin goes down, and then securing your own independent state. Now, those independent states aren't going to be any wealthier than they are now, because if you don't have access to ports and shit, you're screwed anyway. But maybe they go back to being nomadic horsemen and just sort of live off the land and screw everything else. But yeah, that's it. Major gains, Dems are cooked, my guy. There are abortions on the ballot in 10 states. Among those states are Florida, Missouri, and Nebraska, right? Everywhere that abortion has been on the ballot has won with at least a 59% majority, even in super conservative places like Kansas, and has resulted in huge boons for Democratic candidates who ran at that time. So my guess is that as a result, I think Ted Cruz might be done in Texas, and I think Scott might be done in Florida. So that could mean the Dems take the Senate, even if they lose Montana's Senate race. So I think they take the House. I think they take the Senate. I think they take the presidency. I want to say blue wave, but I think Harris wins by 7 to 10% in the end. Yeah. Stephanie L says no 50-cent item for me, thanks. Did I already send you one before? I can't remember if I did or not. You were like, Andrew VH getting in on the action. Andrew VH. And I forgot at the beginning of the show. If you're watching the recorded version of the show later, there still should be a donate button somewhere in there. I don't know. And if you send me the picture of like your receipt, I'll put you on the list for the drawing. I forgot to say that. So we'd probably be doing the drawing if I get my act together Thursday. And then once I draw, you have to send me your address before I reveal what the item is, because you're going to get it no matter what it is. That's the rule. GDC, building off Sad Boy's earlier question about wolves versus polar bears, how many Bill Pulte's could you beat in a fight? He's very petite. He's a very, very tiny man. Nothing against Bill Pulte on a personal level. Say what you will about him. When I was up on that stage, the two thoughts going through my mind were, I have to pee so bad. And then every once in a while I'd be like, is there a child up here? Oh no, it's Bill Pulte. Because his shoes are like this big, and he's got these like little boy pants, and he's got this little jacket, and he's so small. How many Bill Pulte's got beat in a fight? I'm gonna say 4. I'm gonna say I could probably take out 4. Because after that I'll get winded, and then if more Bill Pultes show up, I don't think I would have enough energy to take it on. But the first initial like push of adrenaline of being attacked by 4 little Bill Pultes, I bet I could take 4 of them. Now I could they're not hitting this, they're not reaching that far, so it's gonna be all body blows. I'll be protecting the body, right? And I do have like a foot reach on them, and their little heads are about in the power zone, right? So I think I could take 4 of them. 5 would be a stretch. I think you get beyond 5 and I'm doomed. Like, I could take on an entire classroom of kindergartners. I'm not worried about that. I could punt those things into the rafters. But you get to things start to get to like 100 pounds, and they can bite harder. Yeah, I think 4 is my limit, really. I think my best bet is just to go helicopter, and just they won't be able to get near me. So just do that. Yeah. He's not Jet Li, so I'm not too worried about that. Ryan H, I've been watching Lost again. That polar bear is scary. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of a polar bear tirade. That's for sure. Colin, I read that too about the polar bear, the albino bear getting sent back and forth. I gotta find out if that's verified or not. Someone was just pulling my leg. Colin had to log in for my other account in the computer to donate. Well, thank you for donating. Anonymous, what does IEP do to make money? They are activist investors. So they raise funds, get into companies, turn them around, get the stock price way up, and then they dump the stock and they go on to the next one, generally. So there are a few companies that they hold long term because they're dividend producers. But for the most part, they're activists. They just reorganize companies, get them set up to go, and then they get out. Just Miami, Salvador Post. Oh, Salvador Post something. Where do I go? Where do I go? I gotta go to the Twitter. Go to Salvador. Or Phantom Black. There we go. Whoops. Salvador. There we go. All right. Phantom Black post. 53 minutes ago. Victory lap soon. He's reposting Jake to be. Is it a Reddit post? Or is it? I don't see anything. I just see the victory lap soon. BBYQ quote tweeting Jake to be talking about understanding the series of releases according to BBY plan are the most significant aspect of recovery. So that's all I got there. Unless it's in Reddit, which I can't remember what his Reddit handle is. Hume. Search. Is it Phantom Black there too? This guy maybe? That's a different Phantom Black, I believe. Okay, so not that one. I don't know. If you got a link, send it to me. Jay Geyser. Jay Geyser's donating. And I lost my pen. There's my pen. Jay Geyser. Boom. Where are we right now? We're at 1,025. So Miss Thang's got $175 to go before she gets another tweet. Or another treat. Tweet. Yeah. Calling weeklies for Chewy. Oh, it's weeklies that they bought a whole bunch. Really? So 30? Oh, nope, you're right. There is a whole bunch of weeklies in here. I wasn't even looking. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we got 4,908 for the 26s. We've got 6,000 of them purchased for the 27s. We got 4,988 for the 30s. We got 5,000 at 31. We got 31,000 at 32. That's just volume, man. That's how much is flopping around on here. And another 5,000 at 34. So that is a lot of hopium for something that's got 3 days of trading left on the week. And it's sitting at $25, $25.50. Where are we? $25.86. That's a lot. That is a lot of hopium. So what's happening on the put side? 11,000 puts at 25.5. That's a lot of puts. 11,000 volume today. So someone is hedging. They bought a whole bunch of puts, and they probably bought a whole bunch of calls, and they're hedging right here. Interesting. If anything, if it goes down, they get those shares. They get 1.1 million shares more than what they had before. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Snurtlert, oi, Houston, can you talk for 2 to 3 minutes about Lena Khan so I can send the link to someone? Thanks in advance. Sure. My opinion is that Lena Khan, who's the head of the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is probably the most important bureaucrat we've had in a generation or more. She has changed the focus of the FTC to sort of getting concessions out of companies to straight up being hostile to a lot of them who are presenting challenge monopolistically. So she is definitely fighting the merger between Albertsons Safeway and Kroger, which would result in Kroger and Walmart controlling over 70% of the grocery market. I think ideally she would want to even break up Kroger and Safeway, Albertsons into even smaller entities so that there's more competition. Her predecessors, even dating back to the Clinton years, viewed legal battles over antitrust as sort of a pain in the ass and something that really just wouldn't work out in the end, just too expensive and whatever. And what Lena Khan's philosophy is, do it anyway, it's your job. And she's been focused on this since she was a teenager. She wrote papers in school about the dangers of monopolies and how they need to be broken apart, and antitrust legislation and legal battles need to take place. And she went through college and grad school focused entirely on this one aspect. And she's really going out there and kicking ass. They put through some huge changes. A couple of them have been challenged in the courts, but she got a ban on non-compete clauses, which hurt employees. Imagine you're working for a company and you get an offer from another company and it's for more money doing your same job. And you're like, well, I'm going to go over there. Well, you were forced to sign a non-compete clause to get your current job, so you can't go over there. You can't use your skills and your expertise to work for someone else. And that keeps wages low, right? Because if you can't leave, then they don't have to give you a raise. So she got declared that non-compete clauses are illegal and anti-competitive, and all of a sudden people can leave their jobs and go work for other folks and get raises and challenge, right, the monopoly on your labor. She's gone after meat producers, because there's 4 companies that control all of basically the protein in the U.S., and they keep getting busted for price fixing eggs, price fixing poultry, price fixing beef, price fixing pork. I think ideally if she gets brought along for a second administration, my guess is that you would see her start to antitrust these guys, because they've been going after them, suing them for price fixing violations. And but my guess is that you would start to see her break up these oligopolies, these 4 companies that control the entire meat industry. Now, if we could convince Congress to get rid of the 1996 Telecommunications Act and start to limit the control individuals can have over huge swaths of our media, she would definitely be behind that. She's done amazing works, and it's not from like people will be like, oh, she's a socialist. No, she's definitely a capitalist, and from that aspect, she wants to see competition. Competition is what keeps it healthy. If you allow single companies like Google to control, 90% of the ad market, right, then there's no way for anyone else to enter the market. And what a lot of these tech companies do is if you're coming out with a new idea that could challenge their market, they buy you, turn you into an employee, and have you stare at a wall, earning way too much money for decades. So you don't make anything new. So that's sort of what happens, and one of the problems Elon had with Twitter is he laid off a whole bunch of people, and just blindly. And a lot of those folks were founders of other companies that Twitter purchased and gave useless jobs to. And by firing them, Elon had to pay like hundreds of millions of dollars in severance he wasn't expecting. And those people can now go out into the market and create competing tech to stuff that Elon has. So I think it's good to have a pit bull in the FTC so that these folks can be kept in check. We need to make sure that companies like Boeing, which control a huge number of defense contracts, aren't making shit. and being garbage companies and putting themselves at risk. If Boeing itself is at risk because their commercial airplane division is so terrible that they could go belly up as a result, then that puts, U.S. National security at risk. So you want to make sure that these companies are following the rules, they're being safe, they're making good products, and that there's ample competition forcing them to do those things. So yeah, Lena Khan is a badass, and if I weren't a nobody, I would love to have her on the show and hear about all the kick-ass things she wants to do and is doing to break up these monopolies. I mean, she's taking on Amazon, she's taking on Google, she's taking on Facebook, she's taking on some really big companies, and I think she has a chance of winning every single one of those cases in the end. Don't you, Monkey? Don't you? Matt James 306. Lost my pen again. There we go. Matt James 306. Matt James. Does that mean you're in Miami if you're 306? But you're speaking Canadian, so maybe not. Yeah. Monkey, you are still like $$55 away, something like that. No, $160 away. So $160 away, and you get another one. But until then, no dice, buddy. No dice. You can just get your scratches from me on the side. Attaining Oneness Rock God, what do you think of Netflix 3 Body Problem? Oh, crap. I just lost my chat again. Where'd it go? It was Attaining Oneness, I believe. Yes, Attaining Oneness. It's really good. I read the books. The books are amazing. I have no idea how close the translated version is to the Chinese version, but I was enthralled. Really interesting sci-fi. Really like if you're gonna do sci-fi, you have to stretch science into something like not quite there. It's like the folded proton thing is pretty neat. Yeah, it's interesting, and it brings up cool aspects of like that this is a battle that's going to be prepared for like hundreds of years because these guys are coming from so far away. So it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I kind of wish that they made it more than 8 episodes, because I think like how to put this, like it's like those 8 episodes, as interesting as they are, they're more like the first 15 minutes of a superhero movie where like the kid gets bit by the spider, becomes Spider-Man, like that's chunk, and then you have the actual cool part of the movie happen. To me, that was like 8 episodes of kid bit by spider, becomes Spider-Man, and then the next seasons are going to be like the meat of the meal. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I like the fact that it's very nerd centric, and that they really pissed off the Chinese government by showing the Cultural Revolution in the very beginning, because the Cultural Revolution was brutal, absolutely brutal, and it was as bad as they depict there. The CCP was like, no, but really it was that brutal. I mean, we're talking tens of millions died from the revolution itself and starved to death due to Mao's push for modernization, which really didn't modernize anything, kind of demodernized a lot of the rural areas. You can read about the Chinese famine. It's incredible. So Mao wanted to up exports. So he's like, hey, all of you communities, I want this much grain for exports so we can prove to the world that we are powerful. And those little communities are like, you got it, man. And so they basically starved themselves to make their quotas for export. So everything they grew, they couldn't eat it. They had to export it. And they're like, oh, I guess we're going to starve to death now. And then they did. And they lost, 60, 100 million through that starving. They wanted to quickly industrialize, because one of the problems with a communist nation is that in order for Marxism to work, you have to first have been an industrialized nation who then has the means of production taken over by the people. The problem was that China was an agrarian society who became communist and wasn't industrialized, so there was no means of production. So they had to create industrialized society. And this didn't really start to take off until the late 70s, early 80s. Before that, they really had some missteps in that. And one of the things that Mao said he needed was steel. And so he wanted everyone to be producing steel. And that resulted in people melting their cookware, the tools they had, their plowshares and shit, into steel ingots, which was all ended up becoming like bog iron. It was terrible and useless. And then they didn't have the tools they needed to eat or grow food, which caused the production yields to drop. And then everyone starved to death. So while that was going on, Mao's now trying to blame academics, and so they were killing off, party elders and old people, and very much catering to a bunch of dumb young people, a bunch of 18-year-olds who hadn't done anything with their lives yet. And the 18-year-olds are out there like beaten to death, college professors and academics and poets and artists and things. And then at the end of that, they're like, all right, now what? And they're like, oh, we got nothing cool. Shit. So they had to start over. Very brutal. Very, 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 very brutal. So, that's where we were. But anyways, I liked it a lot. The chill face. Boom, boom. Getting in here hot and heavy. We're at $1,110. We're $90 away from a monkey treat. Ooh, baby. Oh. Okay. The Lena Khan one, detaining one is GDC, HW. Whatever happened to that person who sent you the header of the NDA and said to tell them that we won? Who was it? Are they reliable? I can't say who it was. I'm pretty sure they're reliable. At least there's enough ego and how do I put this? Like internet fame, where if it turns out they're lying pieces of shit, it would ruin them. And so yeah, that's kind of what I'm relying on. I'm sure we'll find out, and if it turns out it was a bunch of bupkis at the end of bankruptcy, then I will broadcast who the hell that was, very much so to everyone. So yeah. Until then, I'm going to respect the fact that they're able to share that info with me, and yeah, so we'll go with that. Guts for long term. What's up? GDC 1023 is mold and chemistry. Oh, that mole. Haha. Avogadro's number. Oh, 10, yeah. The 23rd. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Mole day. It's how many protons are in a kilogram. That's a mole. Avogadro's number. Sir Barther, birds aren't real, but I'm donating anyway. Well, thank you. GDC 9.9 Apple event and Siri merger, 9.10 GME earnings and POTUS debate, 9.11 CPI. Sounds like a busy week that week. That's for sure. This is the time of year when I never get to see my cousin who lives here because she designs marketing for Apple. And so like August is her nightmare month. She has to like get all the ads and everything ready to go for all the new products that are coming out. And so I'm always like, hey, would you like to come to dinner? She's like, well, you're not working. So yeah. Best of the rest, 222. Baseball isn't as fun to watch because of the lack of competition. Why watch a small market team that will 95% of the time lose to a big market team with 6 times the payroll? I do think that they need a little more parity in payroll, like they do with NFL. Yeah, that you also need to build, like, it's hard to make dynasties in football. Like, they did a really good job in New England making dynasties. They also cheated a whole bunch, but for the most part, you're looking at different winners most years because once the team wins, the new contracts come up. Those players get paid a whole bunch, and then all of a sudden you're over your cap space, and you gotta let players go, and they go out to other markets. It's a lot more egalitarian. I would like to see relegation in baseball. I would love it. I would love to have a European style where, the bottom team in each division goes down and the top team of like the AAA squads move up. I think that would really scare the piss out of people. and you would,
Granted, you would have all of a sudden problems. You'd have these giant stadiums that aren't full anymore because they're playing AAA ball and whatnot. But as a competition-wise, I think it'd be fantastic to watch. But because counties and cities have paid so much money for these stadiums, I don't think it would ever happen. But yeah, there needs to be a bit more like, you have teams like the Mariners. The Mariners are the most profitable team in baseball. They're a medium market team, and they make more profit than any team in the league, and it's because they're penny pinching fucksticks. They managed to draft pitching really well, so they got that going for themselves. They cannot develop a hitter to save their lives, and they're not willing to pay for one. And when they do spend $12 million, they get dog shit like Mitch Garver, who should be way better than he is right now. I don't know what the hell's wrong with him, but he can't save his life. Like, he's batting 160. I, a 43-year-old has-been who was never a hitter, could probably approach close to 160 if I were to play in the major leagues. Like, get my strength up, get some reps in the batting cage. I'd be pretty darn close to 160 if that's the case, and I wouldn't require $12 million a year to do it. So there needs to be, I don't know. I think you shouldn't be allowed to defer salaries. I know we love seeing Bobby Bonilla Day and seeing that Ohtani is going to be deferred. It's going to get paid $700 million 10 years down the road and whatnot. But I think you don't defer salaries. You have to pay them in the now. And I don't necessarily believe in a salary cap, because I think the players should be able to maximize their earnings, but there needs to be a way to keep it much more competitive, like have a total salary cap on the entire team type thing, like they do in football, where in baseball they pay a luxury tax. So if your payroll is above X, you have to pay a tax that goes to the other teams above that. I say just be like, you have a $250 million cap for your team, and you've got a minimum. There should be a minimum. Like, you shouldn't be able to have a baseball team like Oakland that is all guys on league minimums. Like, no, you should have to invest in your team a bit. You should be required to spend at least $100 million on your squad, so you have some sort of parity inside of there. So you aren't just fielding a bunch of AAA players, with a major league squad because you don't want to pay dick for anything. There should be some sort of thing, and if the team can't afford it, then you got to change ownership. Sell the team to somebody else. There's going to be some, .com billionaire who wants to own a baseball team, right? Some city that will be willing to put in the funds to have the team owned by the people, a la Green Bay, something like that. Dig Dug Doink. This Charity Tuesday is for the birds. It is. And for the monkey butt snacks. Right? She's not even listening to me anymore. She's like, she knows she's $90 away, and we only got 35 minutes left in the show, so she's really out there. Julius Miami seems someone blew up Bitcoin dropping fast. Ooh, let's see. Bitcoin chart. Oh, it is. We went from 63 down to the 50s, 59. So that is a big blow up. Happened, what? About an hour ago, hour and 15 minutes, at the beginning of the show. So I started the show and I killed Bitcoin. It went from 63 down to 59 and change. We're up a little bit to a little bit more, 59 and change. I'd be very curious to see what happens with Bitcoin in the next couple of months. And just crypto in general, because we have a couple of things. We have the crypto side of the libertarians are the ones behind J.D. Vance's pick for vice presidency, and they own a bunch of Bitcoin, and they very obviously want to destroy the dollar to make the Bitcoin the standard bearer of international trade. And you've got Russia's economy collapsing, and they're not able to import things anymore. And Telegram has basically, the founder of Telegram got arrested, and oops, there goes your ability to purchase a lot of products online if they crack the code of Telegram. And so they announced that they're going to be doing all their international trade in cryptocurrency. So there's now an incentive for Democrats to destroy crypto, to regulate crypto out of existence, if that's the case. Like, if they've got crypto people funding their opponents, you got Russia backing crypto like crazy to do, back channeling for illegal import-export, then why wouldn't they want to regulate it like crazy? So I'm wondering who blew up or who dumped. They're like, I'm out because this thing's toast. But there's a little bit of rebound happening. It's gone up a few $100 since then. But interesting volatility, that's for sure. Robert Manson, 95, 6, or 7 Indians had 5 or 6 players over 310. They had 1 year when Vizquel broke 300. The whole lineup was over 300. Yeah, those 90s Indians teams were amazing. And my biggest bummer of the 94 strike was that the Indians didn't get to win their World Series. They were on their way to probably be one of the best teams of all time. Let's look at, I know it's Cherry Tuesday. All the Europeans are like, why are you talking baseball so much? 1994 MLB standings. Okay. Baseball reference. There we go. So, wait, 94? It was 95. Shit. 94. They were behind. I thought they were ahead. Am I thinking of the wrong season? That's when they had the strike, right? It was 94, and then 95 was the shortened season as a result. But let's look at 94 lineup. Sandy Alomar, boom. Paul Sorrento was a stud. Carlos Baerga was a stud back then. Vizquel had a hell of a year. Jim Thome, Hall of Famer. Albert Bell should be a Hall of Famer, but he's kind of an asshole. Kenny Lofton also should be a Hall of Famer. Manny Ramirez, if you do the steroids, should have been a Hall of Famer, and Eddie Murray was a Hall of Famer. So I think Omar should be in the Hall of Fame. I do. He's the second best fielding shortstop of all time. He had better offensive numbers than Ozzie Smith, and yeah, that's fielding. And his longevity was insane. So Sandy Alomar, is Sandy Alomar Hall of Famer? He was one of the top catchers in the league for a long time. But yeah, Hall of Famer, should be Hall of Famer, should be Hall of Famer, should be Hall of Famer, and Hall of Famer. That's a hell of a lineup you got in 94. 288, 280, 314, 273, 268, 327, 349, 269, 254. Eddie Murray was the worst hitter. He's a Hall of Famer on that entire team. Holy cow. Holy cow. When you look at 95 season, where they beat the Mariners in the playoffs. Again, got Tony Pena, hell of a player. Paul Sorrento, again, still mashed 25 home runs, and he was the worst hitter on the team at 235. But still at 847 on base plus slugging. Just crazy. Yeah. Eddie Murray had a rebound year that year, 323. That 96 team, goodness gracious. This is when the Mariners were fucking monsters and had the worst pitching in baseball. Again, yeah, 300. 297, 300, 300, 300, 300, 262. Eddie Murray, again, the worst hitter on the team, Hall of Famer. Just crazy. Just bonkers. Bonkers crazy. All right. I'll try to keep the baseball to the minimum for the next 29 minutes so the Europeans can then go to sleep easy and happy. Artemis, how the hell do people expect Bitcoin to become a global currency with this kind of volatility? It's beyond stupid to think so. That's been my point. Right? Like, no one wants to have a currency that can fluctuate 20% in a matter of minutes, right? It's just silly. I guess it was closer to like 10%. But like having in 1 hour your net worth be 10% less because all your money is stored up on these things, like, it's got to stabilize somehow. And I just don't see it happening. Because it's too associated with speculation, it's too associated with crime, and 97% of it is locked up by 1% of wallets. So at any moment, one of those people can dump and absolutely destroy the market anytime they want. So that does not lend for stability. Artemis sending love and money, Hooter. Happy birthday. Bouncy Simpsons hit like. Jewish Miami, what a civil chat today. Guess they don't like Charity Tuesday. GDC for October charity, you should do anti-hate group charity in honor of SS Minnow Johnson guy. Southern Poverty Law Center or something like that? I like to see SS Minnow Johnson donate $7 to the Southern Poverty Law Center. That'd be great. SS Minnow Johnson, I said I'd appear on the show and advocate for Sleepy Joe Kamala if they win, like they do in MSNBC, North Korea. Trump will win the burbs and swing states, so he'll take the W. No, he won't. Remember, he's getting sentenced on the 18th. That's a big deal. He will be a sentenced felon at that point. Judge Miami says women in the suburbs disagree. Women are going to turn out like crazy because abortion being on the vote in so many states. That's what dooms them. And women, by far, in every age group, they are supporting Kamala. They're 51% of the population. They represent most of the voters, and they support Kamala. Boom, done. Olga Natswatsky. The problem with no labs is the dilution. Not sure when Ron finally stops issuing shares. It's annoying as fuck. I think they get bought before everyone gets wealthy by holding those shares long term. There could be a takeover that happens. I would like to see insiders with a bigger chunk of the company. I think most insiders have around 1 million shares each, which is, it's a lot of shares, but not quite enough for, like, say, a poison pill to keep from getting bought out. Dig Dug Doink. Holy shit, somebody make a video game of that. Of what? A video game of what, kitty? I need context, because whatever I was saying at 3:35 p.m., which was just after what was I talking about, 3:35? I don't know. Excited box DFV is not yellowing on 3 DTE calls. Not to mention, up interest is only 15,000. Volume is 30,000. People are flipping for quick profits. That's probably what's happening. Interesting. Webster, my great-great-grandfather's name was Ronaldo. See? Is a power name, but he was not Icelandic, I say. Excited box. Yeah, it is odd. They waited until price came down from 90 to mid-20s to dilute instead of at the money. But our price got mine at 60 cents. I am not worried. It's annoying. Oh, talking about no labs. Yeah. I think right now the money they're making is to establish an assembly line for their product. Because they're going to need a pile of cash up front for, the factories to start producing these things if they get FDA approval. And depending on how FDA approval is going, they may start production before. So if they get approval and the sucker's in market. It would be a big risk, but if you ramp up now production, when you apply and it gets approved, then you're hit the ground running on that at that point. Oh, shoot. I just reset my chat again. Dang it. Where am I? Oh, there we go. Okay. Look what happened with Intel. Crushed AMD for years, and we were stuck at 4 cores till AMD managed to beat them as Intel got lazy. I don't know what that's in reference to, but yes. Now we have, like, crazy number of cores in computers. It's bonkers. Cheshire, Houston. Do the Ryan Cohen lawsuits have to be settled before BBY can come out of bankruptcy, or does it matter? You're the best. Monkey B loves a treat. Monkey B would love a treat, but we are stuck currently at $1,110. She doesn't get a treat until $1,200. That's just the rules. I make them and I follow them. So if you guys want Monkey Bud to get a treat, you got 24 minutes to give us another $90 for the Audubon Society. So, give it a whirl. Do the Ryan Cohen lawsuits be settled? I think if the lawsuits are related to 16B, yes. Because you don't want to give these folks equity before it is dismissed, because then it allows them to keep going. So if your argument is they can't sue because they don't have any equity, there's nothing they've got nothing, then and they keep getting dismissed in that case, then you don't want to give them equity yet. You don't want to wrap up the bankruptcy, give them equity, and then have them start suing all over again to ruin the estate or whatnot. So yeah, that's my guess. We have to wait for judges to go, and we're done, and then the confetti can fly and the balloons can drop from the ceiling. Excited Box, competition, investment, and fair markets is how you get innovation, and there are many ways to achieve these goals. Though there are many ways to achieve those goals, but you are not inspired to innovate if you don't have any competitors. So you need to make sure when someone controls an entire market, you break them up and you send them on their way. Sometimes we break things up poorly. Like when they broke up Ma Bell, they broke up AT&T. They broke them up into basically regional Baby Bells, who all had monopolies in those regions. So I need a phone. I have one company I can get a phone line from. Cool. They're not necessarily competing with each other in that case. What you needed was like the way cell phones are today, where multiple carriers cover the same areas, and then you're competing actually directly with those folks. Even then, we've allowed too much merger happening in the cell phone market. Alltel, U.S. Cellular, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon. What was the one that T-Mobile just merged with, Kitty? The Sprint, MCI, like you had all these companies, you had dozens of phone companies that are all now offering cell service, and we're down to basically T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, and then below that you've got your bulk carriers who buy like 1 billion minutes from T-Mobile, and then they give you a sub-carrier rate cheaper on those plans, your Mint Mobiles and stuff like that. But they're using the infrastructure of the big three, and they're not necessarily creating competition because they're still, all that money is still going to the big three. So break them up. Break them into teeny tiny little pieces. Olga, Intel needs to buy TESM finally. It'll solve everything. ASML gave Intel one of their newest machines already too, and corporate IT inventory renewals coming up this year, next year. I mean, if anything, you still got to buy more stuff for more data centers and things like that. You got to keep that upgraded year over year. Black Udon's here. Groove Nix, what will we do if certain states don't certify elections? I have a feeling that if certain states don't certify elections, certain states may be facing felony charges, or the individuals on those election commissions may be facing felony charges if that's the case. I know that's a goal of Trump, is to fill these election boards with sycophants who will refuse to certify if he's losing in those states, which in that case, I think federal charges, violations of civil rights acts and et cetera can come into play. And you just throw those people in jail, and then the new people have to get appointed who are going to certify. The goal is to make sure that no one crosses 270, and if no one crosses 270, the vote goes to the House. But the vote goes to the House of newly seated House members, and I think the Democrats are taking the House. So then Kamala becomes president anyway. So yeah, it's interesting indeed. GC says, I think Dig Dug's comment was about you fighting multiple Pulties, not a fair video game, like Odd Job and GoldenEye 64. Oh, yes. How many Pulties can you fight video game? It'd be funny if like you had to put in your data, like how big are you, your age, your reach, stuff like that, and then they would put a U in there, and you're fighting off how many Pulties you can possibly fight off if that's the case. If Paulie wants to make some money, he should put out a video game out himself. Colin, thoughts on GME earnings if they've just been earning interest on their $4 billion to become profitable? I bet they have been earning interest on that. Quarter two would not necessarily cover too much of that because quarter one ended at the end of March. Quarter two ended at the end of May, right? So they had a little bit. So there wouldn't be too much interest off quarter 2 from that. It'll be interesting to see what quarter 3 produces interest-wise. And Dr. G78, boom, coming in hot with the monkey treat. Dr. G78. Boom, that puts us over 1,200. That means someone... Oh, she's making an appearance. There she goes. See her in the little corner there. Oh, yeah, you want a breakfast sandwich? The bacon and egg biscuit? Yeah. What do they call them, like a McGriddle or something? Come on up here, monkey. Get in there. Right there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, delicious. Thank you, Dr. G78. And am I at the end of the chat? Holy smokes. Colin, oh yeah, and Hindenburg SMCI came out today. Sounds like a lot of NVIDIA with their accounting policies. Hindenburg's got to figure out how to stay out of jail. That's for one. So if because they can produce their hit pieces, and they can also produce legit research, and no one's gonna be able to know which one's which at this point. Yeah. GDC, a few weeks ago, I asked which is the best period of a few months in history. It'll be fall 2024 if Moas, Kamala, and Russia loses Ukraine, Trump in jail. That'd be a pretty good stretch. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who will disagree and say it would be the worst thing in the entire world. Ken Griffin, for one. He'd be like, Moas, damn it. Kamala, damn it. Russia loses, damn it. Trump in jail, gah. So, man perspective from that point, I would think it'd be a pretty good stretch of months there. Dig Dug Doink, I was talking about the Bill Pulte video game. Slappers only. Ooh, that'd be, yeah. Slappers, interesting. Well, yeah. You hook Chalupa up with a treat too. I try to hook Chalupa up with treats and he doesn't eat them. It's the weirdest thing. For such a fat piece of crap, I give him a treat and he just looks at it, sniffs, doesn't know it's food unless it's in his bowl. It's the weirdest thing. You are such a strange little nugget. You are, you little loaf. Oh, yeah. I've never met a cat I could scratch harder than this cat, though. That's one thing about being beefy. You can just lay the force into them and they just love it. Problem is I then meet a skinny little kitten cat and I tried that and they're like, I'm broken. So, Beaver Brand, welcome to the chat. I'm almost there. He tends to turn his nose up anything but cat food, I thought. Yeah, it's true. That's true. Oh, catnip. There's catnip. We can do some catnip for him. I do have that. So let's... Oh, did you hear it? Yeah? Yeah? Shall we... Oh, I'm dumping catnip all over myself. Oh, is that what you want? You want to come over here? Do you want to do lines of catnip? Meow, kitty. Kitty cat. Monkey butt. Kitty cat. Yeah, meow. Get monkey out of the way. Kitty cat. Here, come here. Come here. Hey, hey, hey. Like that? Like that? Come on. Come on. Up here. Come on. Come on. Fatso. Come on. Yeah, you want it? You want it? You gotta come up here and get it. You gotta come up here and get it. Come on. It's falling over my lap because you already bit holes in this thing. So let me pick you up because I guess you're too fat to jump. Is that what we're dealing with here? We're too fat to jump. Here, do a line. Yeah, look at all that. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah. Yeah. Kitty's doing lines. Get in there. Yeah, is that the stuff? Is that the happy juice? Is that the happy juice? You can show the Chalupa doing lines of catnip here. Yes, eating it all up. Yeah, it's good stuff. Forgot that we had that for you. That's the list. He's doing lines off the list. And you are sitting on the mouse, though, so I don't know how I'm going to scroll. I don't need to scroll. Okay. Peter Brand forgot to turn on the air before I left for work this morning. Walked into the place, 104 degrees. Oh. Ugh. Ugh. Gross. Gross, right, monkey? You would hate that. It's like the old truck that didn't have any air conditioning and you were absolutely miserable when we go to the desert. You just look at me like, you son of a bitch, why'd you take me here? It is too hot. And you drink 5 gallons of water a day. Surprised there hasn't been a GoldenEye remake, same maps but better graphics, online capable. GoldenEye would be fantastic. One thing that pissed me off about GoldenEye was there was no jumping. So like you couldn't jump like over railings and things, and that was my one beef with the layout of Goldeneye. And the cat is turning the mouse on. Okay, your butt is moving the mouse too much, so we'll put the mouse over here. There we go. Oh yeah, oh, rolling it. Yes, look at you, you roly little poly. Oh, get it. Look at him. It's just a mess, an absolute mess here. Maybe we'll move the water over here. Yeah, is that the good stuff? Are you absolutely just stoned out of your mind now? Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. Jake Geiser, Lena Khan's anti-compete clause, no compete clause got halted by court. It got halted by a very, very, very conservative court, not really citing any legal precedent. I have a feeling that when it gets appealed to a higher court, they're gonna go, yeah, that's stupid. So, Juice Miami, how bad are things? Shake Shack closing 9 company-owned restaurants. I think the problem is Shake Shack's too expensive. That's the big problem with Shake Shack. The patties are this big, and they taste good, but they're super teeny tiny, and they cost like $16. So if you're gonna get a McDonald's-sized burger, you don't want to be paying McDonald's-sized prices these days. Dude, there's so much catnip everywhere. Oh my gosh. Maybe I can make a new pile out of what you dumped on me. And push that off. There we go. There we go. Look at all this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, kitty. Are you done? It's all over you. You were covered in catnip, you little fart. Oh yeah. Kato karaoke. That's my water, not yours. I was just investigating. All right, to the monkey cam. Nope. Now it's time for the. Oh, he's doing the rubby dubbies. Let's gotta do the rubbies. Whoa, knocking off things off the desk. You stone little man, you. You're absolutely just ripped. So ripped. Oh, my mouse. Bring the mouse back over the mouse side. Video brand, I've given my catnip in over a year. Oh, I gotta do it. I forget about the catnip, and then I give it to him, and he's just so happy. He's so happy. GameStop promoting retro stores on Twitter now too. They have lots of retro gaming stuff. Why? Because the games are fun. They don't take up much memory at all, right? You can 8 kilobytes can fit some of these games, and it's easy to license because they're not selling the games anymore. People aren't going out and buying new, Kid Icarus games or anything like that from the 1980s. So you can license it to these other companies, have a new revenue stream, and they're fun games. People can play them, and you can put 1,000 games on one of these retro devices without having to worry about buying new ones. So you just buy the thing; it already has all the games installed. And then you can have cartridges for any new games that happen to come out that might be a little more modern. It's a pretty brilliant, cheap way of doing that. Mod Retro costs. They are connected with costs doing that. No luck for us Canadians though. Do you not have it in Canada? Wait. So tell us, did you not put it in on live chat? I'm on live chat. Did I miss something? I'm on live chat. Did I miss something? Did I scroll too far by accident? Hazel A says tinfoil RC does something on Labor Day. That's what the Weekend at Bernie's hopium tinfoil is. So I guess we cross our fingers. Yeah. Nanomoth, what sport don't you consider a real sport? There are some things I consider that might have maybe a modicum of athleticism in them, but are more of a skill or a game, like cup stacking or something. Like I am in awe at how fast they stack cups. I don't think there's necessarily an athletic component to it. I think it's more a skill issue. Like it's like Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cube isn't necessarily a sport. It is competitive, but I don't think it's an athletic thing. I think it's a skill issue. So I guess it would be along those lines. Chess is a game and not a sport. Boxing chess is a sport, though. And then there's people that argue that things like gymnastics and ballet aren't sports. They're very much athletic. And there can be competition. Now, is it like scoring goals and stuff? No. But it is definitely artistry and athleticism combined into who is the best at those two things. Like the people's big complaint about Simone Biles is that she's so athletic, she doesn't necessarily have to worry about the artistry in gymnastics because her skills are so off the charts. She just has to complete a skill and be done with it and be like, whatever. And then she's going to win because she's just that much more athletic than any of her competitors. Whereas her competitors who aren't as athletic, they put a little more artistic flair on it. And they're like, well, why can't I? And if Simone Biles bothered putting artistic flair on things, she would embarrass you even more. That's probably why. Because then she'd be like, okay, I'll put a flair at the end. And then she wins by even more. I think that's, there's competition in athleticism and things, and doesn't make it a sport. Like breakdancing is definitely competitive. It's definitely athletic. There's judges and scoring involved. But does that mean it's a sport? Or does that just mean it's athletic competition? Like, does sport require scoring? Like, by the individuals into goals and whatnot? Is a hot dog a sandwich? That's the same type of lines. How do we approach this from a philosophical perspective? Cat, who's currently covered in catnip and stoned out of his mind. And it's just left a trail of catnip all over the desk. Let me ponder on that for quite a while. OJ Kamenicki. What's your address so I can send you a copy of my band's new album? We are 10 years deep. Name is Cinematica. Album is the Jaguar Priestess. Below is my P.O. box. So send it with a self-addressed envelope, and I'll send you stickers too you can put on your band equipment. So, yes, down there, P.O. box. P.O. Box 4645, Rollingbay, Washington 98061. P.O. Brand looking forward to more cryptic tweets from random Twitter users. That's always fun. Chris Taylor, how do you feel about Australian breakdancing as a sport? I think it's one of the most hilarious trolls to have ever existed. I know there's probably legit breakdancing athletes who lost their chance to go to the Olympics, and that must piss them off. But from a troll perspective, it's very Australian. It's like, wow, good on you. Yeah, I mean, she is obviously a dancer because she's her flexibility and strength. I mean, she spun on her head, for crying out loud. Like, if anyone can spin on their head, I'm impressed. But she was very much trolling with the moves she was doing, and I think if we look at it from the perspective of you just got trolled by an entire nation, it's pretty funny. Yeah. Not about anything new on MMTLP. I saw something about them having to dig wells, but they are broke. Every year, the shills say that they've got to dig wells and are broke, and every year they have money and dig wells. So I'm not too worried about that. My guess is MMTLP is going to do their 10K, then they'll do an S1, and they'll run from there. That's what I see happening. Sincere 206 Houston. How do we get more people to vote third party for someone like Jill Stein if you don't support genocide? You don't? That's how I see it. Jill Stein is an unserious person as well. She does nothing to help boost the Green Party in off-year elections. She never tries to get anyone elected to city councils, state legislatures, anything like that. So she does nothing. She just shows up every 4 years to siphon votes off of the Democratic candidate, and that's it. And they make a bunch of money. Her connections to Putin terrify me. Before she was even a candidate, she was having dinners with Putin. And I think if you want to quell the Israeli conflict, I think Kamala Harris is the way to go, because she's actually pushing for a ceasefire in that situation. That if you're voting for Jill Stein and you pull votes from Kamala, then Trump's in there, and Trump has basically voiced kill them all. I think his wording was finally solve the problem, which sounds a lot like final solution to me. So I think if you want to quell the conflict, you vote for Kamala Harris, who is pushing for a ceasefire and returning of the hostages. But you're not gonna get like Stein. If Stein somehow magically were to get elected, she won't. She's not going to be able to do anything about Netanyahu anyway. Netanyahu funded Hamas. Like, if you know anything about the history of Hamas, when they took over in 2007, it was because they struck a deal with Netanyahu's government to basically murder the opposition in Gaza. So all of the moderates and all of the leftists got killed, and Hamas got power. And then they were funded with cash by the Netanyahu government. They got busted with it. There's articles. Let's see here. Netanyahu briefcases full of money. Here we go. So, Israel drove suitcase. Oh, don't give me this crap. Just, what is going? Oh my gosh! Why did you start doing this to me? Why? I've never been on a paywall before with you, Business Insider. Copy. 12foot.io. Dump that sucker in there. Boom. Clean webpage. There we go. Israel drove suitcases stuffed with cash into Gaza to keep Hamas in power. It's from the New York Times originally. Israel tacitly encouraged Hamas to stay in power, according to the New York Times. In some cases, Israel's support was more obvious. Israeli security forces would help escort millions in funds into Gaza, helping Hamas. Israeli officials are facing backlash after years of Prime Minister Netanyahu quietly allowing Hamas to remain in power. But the reporting in the New York Times has revealed the Netanyahu government was more hands-on about helping Hamas. They helped a Qatari diplomat bring suitcases of cash into Gaza, indirectly boosting the militant organization, according to the report. The calculus. The Times reported on Sunday that citing Israeli officials, Netanyahu critics, and the man's own reported statements was to keep Hamas strong enough to counteract the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, allowing Netanyahu to avoid a two-state peace solution to keep both sides weak. So basically, the man built his own problem. So rather than just making a two-state solution, and being done with it, which is what Yitzhak Rabin had managed to negotiate before he was assassinated by a Netanyahu voter, meant that they created the situation of October 7th themselves. And so Netanyahu is so unpopular right now. He's like a 9% approval rating, that if he were to stop the war, then there's an election and he gets voted out, and he goes to jail because he's already been convicted in Israel, and he's facing International Court of Justice trials as well. His goal, he's got to keep the war going forever. So Stein is not going to become in power. Netanyahu loves Trump. They're buddy to the end of time. And so I think your only hope is Kamala Harris. She can strong arm the Israeli government into a ceasefire. And she's the only person who would be willing to do that, because Jill Stein might be able to say she's willing to do that, but she's not. She doesn't stand a chance in hell. So yeah. Aaron Saltine, when Sirius is doing the reverse split and merger, I read an article saying they will, but without a date 2 months ago. I think the 10th is when they're supposed to do it. I think that was the date that they said. Slobo Knee, Putin is a legend. I mean, he has been an important figure, historically speaking, but he's kind of an ass clown. I would say he's less of a legend and more of a villain. Make sense? Hopeful Pomelo 4488 Vegas odds chances Orange Man drops the N-word during debate. I'd say low, unless you really, really, really needles him and he gets such a narcissistic injury that he just loses all control. But generally, even narcissists know how to control themselves in front of people, especially when there's like direct consequences involved. So I say low. I say low that he drops the N-word. Him ever doing it on a hot mic are pretty high, I think. I mean, we already have lots of reports that he did it on hot mics during the filming of The Apprentice. So you know it's in his lexicon and his usage. Slow Bonnie, don't be a brainwash, man. It's all bullshit. Really? It's bullshit that Putin invaded Ukraine and bombed Grozny and bombed Georgia. It's all fake. It's not true that he's been arresting opposition and putting them in jail and then offering them to come out of jail if they agree to go to the front lines and be cannon fodder. That's all. Yeah. Fuck politics, man. They all the same shit. I mean, not really. And they're very different, drastically different. I mean, you can look at here in the U.S., right? We had the Trump administration during the SARS outbreak put an emphasis on having epidemiologists available in the White House for expertise on how to deal with outbreaks in a possible pandemic. And then in the Obama administration, when Ebola came to the U.S., they actually elevated those folks to a cabinet level position and put them on the National Security Council. And then the Trump administration axed all those people. So that when we did actually have a pandemic, there were no experts in the White House with a plan in place to deal with it. And we, as a result, had millions of people die and the entire economy crash. So to say that they're all the same is not true at all. Like, there's vast differences that little decisions can make. These even affect, as forward-looking as Bush was on pandemics, he was not very forward-looking when it came to things like hurricanes. Today is the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, isn't it today? The 19th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. So we have Hurricane Katrina, was inevitable. Like, hurricanes are going to hit New Orleans. It's a very warm body of water that it sits on. It is below sea level, which is why you have dikes keeping back the ocean and the lakes, right? Well, $30 million in 2003, I believe, were supposed to be spent by the Army Corps of Engineers to do much needed maintenance on the levees surrounding New Orleans. And the Bush folks line item vetoed that. They got rid of that out of the funding to save $30 million. And as a result, the levees failed when Katrina hit, and it cost $500 billion in damage. So, and lost thousands of lives. So there are little minute differences with how leaders view monotonous things like maintenance and upkeep of infrastructure versus, like, let's just save some money, right? Some folks look a little more forward and say, hey, if we do this infrastructure project, we save hundreds of billions of dollars when this disaster happens. Versus, well, if we can just save this now and worry about that crap later, and then you spend hundreds of billions of dollars, or the case of COVID, $20 trillion, and you lose tens of millions of lives worldwide. So it's like, yeah, there's a difference. Just saying like everyone's the same and walking away without further explanation or thought really damages the system we're in, because as minute some differences may be, right? Like right now, there's not too much difference between the immigration policies of the Democrats and Republicans. Okay, yeah, you go, yeah, those two are the same. But when it comes to foreign relations, the difference between supporting NATO and not supporting NATO produces a drastic difference in how we operate around the world. You can look at, after World War I, President Wilson, as much of a piece of shit as President Wilson was, he did foresee the need of having the League of Nations involved to make sure that a war like that never happened. The problem was that the opposition in America were like, nope, World War I was so damaging, we're going to become isolationist. And so, despite the fact he set up the League of Nations, the U.S., the most powerful nation in the world, was not a part of the League of Nations. Therefore, World War II happened, right? If the lesson we learned from World War I had been, hey, maybe we should be a little more involved in diplomacy around the world rather than enclose ourselves, there might be, hundreds of millions of people still alive today that died in that conflict. So, there are very subtle differences in how we approach this stuff. So, yeah. Hazel A, hostage got out of the tunnel today and was rescued. That's good. It's better than, the ones that got bombed to death or shot by the IDF. I don't know if you've read about that, but a lot of the hostages were killed by Israeli bombardment and by Israeli soldiers. There's a whole group of hostages that their captors fled. They got out, they spray painted in Hebrew, like, hey, hostages are this way, we're here. And when they were met by the IDF gunned them all down. They killed a dozen of the poor hostages. I don't know why. They did not believe them that they were the hostages. But yeah, there's been quite a few that have been killed in this conflict. So if your goal is to rescue the hostages and the hostages get offered, then there you go. You met your goal of the entire conflict. But if your goal is murder as many people as possible, then Netanyahu is definitely meeting that goal. Hostages or not. They are laying waste to as many people possible. They're making the humanitarian corridors smaller and smaller and then bombing those humanitarian corridors. It seems to me that his goal is prolong the war, take as much land as possible. I think that's it. Chris Taylor, how's new car treating you? Have fun going top. Oh, crap, I got to go. New car treating me very well. Matter of fact, I got to get into it right now and go to work. Thank you so much, everybody. We've raised... How much did we raise? We raised $1,250. Oh, Talvin 4 got in here. I got to write that down. Kitty catnip. Talvin 4. Where were we? That's 20. And any others I miss? I got Dr. G78. I think that's it. So please, by all means, continue to donate if you're watching this show at home. And I'll see you guys later. Have a great night. And goodness gracious, I got yiggity yakking and not paying attention to the clock. Monkey says goodbye. I say goodbye. Charity Tuesday says goodbye. Thank you so much for meeting. Yeah, another successful Charity Tuesday. We did it again. Yay!
Let's get started. Let's go. Houston, we have a problem.
Okay, I gotta run away. Bye.